These are the 10 most emotional moments in football history. And coming up on number 4 is a tragic air crash that killed an entire football team. Oh God, and that's only one of the most emotional moments in football history amongst the other 10 that have us right in the feels. And starting with number 10, what could be more tragic than losing the closest person in your life? The game was in full swing when the goalkeeper learned that his brother had passed away. Oh goodness, it broke his heart and shattered his soul into a million little pieces. He was in dismay as he cried and cried while being inconsolable. Man, how tragic was this? He left the match, and owing to the unbearable pain, he announced his retirement from professional football. And guys, the story on our number 9 is no less tragic than this one. It was the unfortunate day of June the 14th, 2021. Denmark was taking on Finland in the Euro 2020. The stage was all set. The Danish people had their hopes tied to one person, their star captain, Christian Eriksen. They had faith in him. The match began, and it was in the dying minutes of the first half when Eriksen collapsed on the field. What was it? Was it fatigue, or pain, or brain freeze? What was it? How could someone as robust as Christian collapse in this manner? Well, the medical team was shocked to discover that the Danish captain had gone into cardiac arrest. This was unbelievable. The crowd went into absolute silence. What else could they do? They were in a state of disbelief as their captain lay motionless on the football field. The cheers had turned into tears. The ecstasy became agony. The situation was dire. All the players and referees sprinted over to block the scene from the ever-pouring camera. Behind the circle, the doctors and medical teams were seen resuscitating Eriksen using a defibrillator, but it was of no help. As the situation went out of control, Eriksen was stretchered out of the field and rushed to the hospital. The wait began. The entire world was praying for this man. Soon there was a sigh of relief as the doctors announced that Eriksen was out of danger. He even posted a selfie to confirm that he was alive and doing well. After making a full recovery, Eriksen returned to football and has been playing for Manchester United. That's great, but someone bring me a box of tissues. And for our number 8, a bond that was formed more than 2 decades ago, a bond that was expected to last a lifetime, a bond that was forged at a time when Messi was a nobody, but a little child suffering from growth hormone deficiency, unable to pay for his treatment. But it all came to a halt when on August the 5th, 2021, Messi sent shockwaves throughout the world as he announced that he was leaving the Camp Nou and Barcelona for good. His journey, where he won 35 trophies with the club, had finally come to an end. This farewell was the hardest. Messi cried, his colleagues cried, and the fans cried. Well, at least Messi got the chance to say goodbye, because our next superstar left the world without bidding farewell. Number 7. It was the unfortunate sight of 6th of February 2023, when an apocalyptic earthquake wreaked havoc in Turkey and Syria, killing more than 56,000 people. Amongst the dead was Christian Atsu. He grew up in extreme poverty, and as he rose to fame and stardom, there was sheer hard work behind it. He represented the Ghana national team and played in numerous football leagues around the world. But as the earthquake struck, Christian went missing. His body was found 2 weeks later. There were tributes from all around the world. The president of Ghana tweeted, "Ghana football has lost one of its finest personnel and ambassadors, one who will be difficult to replace. He will be sorely missed." Guys, this is so agonizing. But then some deaths go beyond football, and one such death left every person in an ocean of tears. Number 6. The hand of God, Argentina's greatest ever. The little magician, the champion of the champions. Diego Maradona was an incredible footballer, but he was never a perfect role model. All his life he struggled with substance abuse and drinking. And during all this time, his daughter had his back. These addictions got the worst of him. His health issues escalated, his heart was in bad condition, his liver was hardly working, and at the age of 60, his body was giving up. And in November, things went out of hand as he underwent brain surgery. The sad bit is that Maradona was sent home after the procedure, and there was no critical care. Are you kidding me? Man. The Argentinian legend, who was once the heartbeat of every football fan, lay neglected at his home until the night of the 25th of November 2020, when he had a massive heart attack and died in his sleep. The legend slept and never woke up, except that his death left his daughter and fans in shock. On this occasion, Pep Guardiola said, "It doesn't matter what you did with your life, but what you did with ours." It made many people happy. Every club and every fan paid due respect and remembered the moments of glory that Maradona had left behind for the world to cherish. And as we speak of Argentina, on our number 5 is a tragedy that could have been the end of Messi and his boys. In plain and simple words, on November the 11th, 2016, the Argentina national team was 18 minutes away from death. Good Lord. After losing 3-0 to Brazil, Argentina departed from Brazil on a chartered flight. The boys were dismayed by their poor performance. Well, this loss was nothing compared to the ordeal that was going to ensue. As the plane took off, everything was under control until it wasn't. The next 4 hours were nothing less than a nightmare. The airborne plane started experiencing turbulence. Messi and company were scared to death. The pilots had lost their calm. They were trying to contact the nearest radio station, and the plane had only 18 minutes to make an emergency landing, or else it was adios. Fortunately, they got a green signal from one airport and made an emergency landing. The Argentinian team was lucky enough to get a second chance at life. But unlike them, the Brazilian club Chapecoense wasn't fortunate enough. Just 2 weeks later, they travelled on the same jet and met a tragedy that can never be forgotten. Number 4. The story of Chapecoense is heart-wrenching for a reason, but the club rose to fame from a very low position. It once played in Brazil's D-League and had no recognition, but as the players worked hard, the club progressed, reaching the top division of Brazilian soccer in 2014. But then, on November 29, 2016, something tragic happened. The team was on flight Lamia 2933, travelling to Medellin for the Copa Sudamerica finals against Atlético Nacional. There were 81 passengers aboard. The plane took off from Bolivia and was flying over the town of La Union at around 10 p.m. when the crew declared an emergency. The overcast conditions and extreme rain only made the situation worse. Soon, there was a blackout. The plane crashed moments later in a mountainous area, 22 miles from the airport. It was catastrophic. There were 71 casualties, including most of the Chapecoense squad. The tragedy stunned the soccer-mad nation in Brazil, and 3 days of national mourning were declared. Gianni Infantino, president of FIFA, said, "This is a very, very sad day for football. At this difficult time, our thoughts are with the victims, their families and friends. FIFA would like to extend its most heartfelt condolences to the fans of Chapecoense, the football community, and media organisations concerned in Brazil." I hope you guys aren't crying, because next up is something even more sad. The story of Abdelhak Nouri. Number 3. You see, 2017 was meant to be a huge year for Abdelhak. He was fit, young and healthy, ready to make his debut for Ajax. So on July the 8th, 2017, like every other match day, Nouri stepped onto the pitch with a hope to win big. As he started against the German team Werder Bremen, the game was spot on, but little did Nouri know the calamity that awaited him. In the blink of an eye, something happened that would change his life forever. All of a sudden, he collapsed. No one knew what went by, but in the next few moments, the young lad was fighting for his life, gasping for every single breath. He was having a cardiac arrest. Nouri's teammates were utterly helpless. It was his fight and he had to get through it. The medical staff tried their best, but the situation was out of their control. Nouri was rushed to the hospital. Hours passed by, but there was no news. The world was in a state of disbelief. There were prayers for his well-being. Then came the news. It was announced that Abdelhak had suffered a very severe brain damage and he had to be put on life support. All of it seemed surreal, but the fans and the football fraternity had Nouri's back. After staying in a coma for 2 years and 9 months, Abdelhak finally regained consciousness and since then has been going strong. At least Abdelhak lived to see another day, because Pier Mario Morosini, on number 2, fell and never got up. Morosini was a young aspiring football player with his entire life waiting ahead, but on April 14th, 2012, everything changed. He was playing against Pescara in Serie B. He seemed fine until the 31st minute when he collapsed. The 25-year-old was having a cardiac arrest. It was scary. As the medical team arrived, it was already too late. He had lost his pulse, breathing, and normal body reflexes. There was pin-drop silence in the stadium. The match was abandoned as players left the field in tears. Morosini was soon declared dead. Oh God, died way too early. This was tragic, but an even greater tragedy met Leicester City Football Club when a helicopter crashed, killing everyone aboard. Number 1. The owner of Leicester City, Wichai Siwatunaprapa, often travelled in his helicopter, and following his routine, on 28th October, he and 2 of his staff members boarded the helicopter. But as it took off from the stadium, its tail rotor control linkage broke, sending it into an uncontrollable spin, and then it crashed just 200 metres away from the ground, catching fire immediately. There were 5 casualties, which included everyone on board. Fans mourned this tragic loss by putting flowers and football shirts outside the ground the morning after the crash. There was also a 5,000 won walk in remembrance of the victims. Vichai was a great man who died too early. Jeez. So, which emotional moment did you feel the most? Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments below. And fellas, if you're feeling down, we've got some real adrenaline-packed content about how Emi Martinez saved an entire country.